Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to my booth. My name's Jay. Today's sample comes to us from Kerry. Thanks for sending this in, Kerry. If you'd like me to review audio of yours, there's a form. It's in the description. Fill it out, send me something, and we'll do something like this ASAP with you. There's also coaching down there if that's more your speed, you want to work more one-on-one, and you don't want to wait for me to get through everybody else's samples who's already submitted. With that said, Kerry, let's take a listen. Well, before we take a listen, there are a couple things that I want to talk about purely technically. It'll be pretty simple stuff, but right now your recording is a little too quiet. Your gain levels, your recording levels are just too low at the moment. So what you'll want to do is either if you're using a USB microphone and you have a gain knob on the side, it looks sort of like this, you'll want to turn that up until your recording levels in your recording software are peaking around -12 to -6 dB. So it'll look something like this. If you don't know how to set your levels, I've got another video on this channel about setting your levels. Check that out, and it should help you out. The fallout from that, the other thing, if you aren't using a USB microphone, you'll be using your audio interface. The principle will be the same, however. With the fallout from turning your gain up, however, is you'll notice here, if we go back to your original file, there's not a lot of noise going on here. Your noise levels are pretty low, but if we turn your volume up, the ambient room tone and the noise of your background sort of come into play a bit more. So that's what this squiggly line in between your speaking is. And right now, that's just too loud as well. When we turn our volume on the microphone up, there are a couple things that'll help. First, obviously, if you just find a quieter space, maybe you've got a closet somewhere, or if you can get a room just to yourself for a while and pad that out with moving blankets or something like that, that'll help. I've got another video about setting up your recording booth, which you might find helpful there. But that'll help remove or reduce at least some of the noise, because here, I know how it is. It sounds like you've got some little ones running around, and it can be challenging to contend with that when you're a voiceover artist. Myself, my cat in my apartment, it becomes challenging sometimes when they need some love and attention there when you have to record some quiet stuff. Another couple things that'll help you get more appropriate levels for your recording. Firstly, your performance is a little bit quiet, generally speaking, so you can be a little bit more on voice, sort of the way I'm talking to you now, and the way you're performing it. I think it's lovely for a very specific genre, sort of a meditative ASMR-esque type thing, and there's definitely a place for that, and I think you could definitely find a home there if you're interested in it. But just being a little bit louder in your speech will also help to sort of create distance between the ambient noise of your room and your voice. As an example, if I'm whispering a lot, I have to turn the gain up on my microphone, but then you start to hear background noises a bit more. But if I'm talking louder, the background noises are just quieter in relation to my voice. Similarly, you can move your microphone closer to your mouth. I don't know how far away it is necessarily in your recording, but those things will probably help you to reduce your noise floor a smidge as well. So just to recover all that, if you can find a quiet space just for your recording that's away from the family living space or something like that, again, check out the video. Turn the gain up on your microphone. Maybe move the microphone a little closer to your mouth if it's not within a hang loose or a thumb and fists distance away, and just performing a bit louder. With all that said, let's take a listen to your performance here.
If it had not rained on a certain May morning, Valency Sterling's whole life would have been entirely different. She would have gone with the rest of her clan to Aunt Wellington's engagement picnic, and Dr. Trent would have gone to Montreal. But it did rain. and you shall hear what happened to her because of it. Valancy wakened early, in the lifeless, hopeless hour, just preceding dawn. She had not slept very well. One does not sleep.
So you've got, I'm stopping it too because I have something to say, but you have a really nice sense of what's going on. It's clear that you have a really strong grasp of the context here. I don't know the nature of this book, but it sounds like there's some sort of politicking going on within people and stuff like that. And that interplay, it can be really difficult to capture sometimes. And I think you're doing that really, really well. Again, I think 90% of it will be just committing more. And what that could look like is simply flowing a bit more freely from thing to thing. You don't need to take quite as much time from thought to thought here. We're following you. You clearly have a great grasp of the content of this story and the different characters that are going on already, just in that first 30 seconds that we listened to. And just being okay telling us the story. And one thing that might help you is instead of putting the person like you're delivering it sort of, it sounds almost like a pillow talk type story, like you're lying next to someone and telling them this story right into their ear. Maybe just imagine yourself a little bit further away. Maybe you're sitting across the room from them to just try as an experiment for yourself and project as if they were across the room. So as an example for myself doing that, hey, let me tell you a story right now. This is a really great tale that goes from they would have left, but they didn't. That's very close. And then further away, hey, they lived really close to each other and they knew that they had to go from point A to B. Those are just differences in volume. I'm speaking nonsense, but just increasing the distance and projection of your voice, I think will really help you out there and help to really propel the story forward a bit. You can give it a bit more of that energy that will really get into it. And again, I don't want to take away what you have here because you have a good delivery with all of this as well. Let's continue.
One does not sleep well, sometimes, when one is 29 on the morrow and unmarried, in a community and connection where the unmarried are simply those who have failed to get a man.
Yeah, see, that one's a good sense of where you're pacing is giving a bit of drive. There's some urgency there. The marriage is impending. There's some stuff going on here. I do think that you could maybe smooth out the flow of thought in the sentence. Breaking it up a little bit with that many breaths and pauses is a little bit challenging for me to track exactly what's being said, but I get a sense of that urgency, and that's the kind of thing that I think you can bring a bit more to the front. Not in the same way necessarily, but a similar way.
Aye, there lay the sting. Valancy did not mind so much being an old maid. What hurt her was that she had never had the chance to be anything but an old maid. No man had ever desired her.
Yeah, and so as to your question about if these demos work, if it's something that's usable, I think certainly this type of content for audiobooks specifically is definitely usable. I would just invest a little bit more energy into it, as well as some of the technical aspects that we discussed. If you have any questions, feel free, Kerry, to reach out. I'd be happy to talk more. And those other videos that I referenced, I think would be really helpful. Again, that's the setting up your own booth, setting your gain levels, and maybe your microphone placement. Those are 3 videos I have somewhere on this channel that might help you out. But with that said, thanks for sending this in. The rest of you, I hope you found this helpful in some way. And until the next one of these, be well, everybody. See you then. Toodles.